Everybody, welcome to a special edition of No Vacancy Live. This is going to be coming out this weekend, so we're pre-recording it. I'm very excited, Anthony. Look at us. We're here back at AHOA Live, man.
Is that you?
It is. Is that you? This is awesome. I'm so glad we got a speaker here, so we got a crowd that's going to be forming over here, and I'm excited. Why am I excited, Anthony? Because we've got an incredible guest over here who we can already see. There she is, Talene Staab. She's the global head of True by Hilton. They just celebrated their 200th opening, but I think you guys are already on for like 225 or something like that, right?
Like that. Again, ask me in an hour and I'll give you a different number.
And I've told you this, Glenn.
Yeah.
I've told you she's one of my favorite guests, true?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely. After we did the last time Talene was on the show was November of 2019. We were at HX, the hotel experience powered by AHOA, and I think he fell in love with you during that event.
What do we have in common? We were just talking off air what we have in common.
Yep, another friend.
We have a friend who was actually I believe my assistant general manager, who talked himself into the assistant general manager, now general manager job, just because he's that kind of guy.
Right.
And he has the distinct honor of being your general manager of your 200th hotel.
That's right. The momentous 200 hotels are Atlanta.
Hey, if I can get you to talk into the mic and look at the camera, don't look at us, because we want you to look at all those people that are going to be watching this. And for those of you who normally make comments, we really appreciate it. But since this is pre-recorded, we won't be able to respond to it. Talene, which might be an advantage to you. We don't know. We'll see how we'll see how this goes over there. All right, now let's interview Anthony's shoulder. That'll be pretty good. He's taking pictures with fans. I love that. So, Talene, again, congratulations on hitting 200. What a milestone. But the interesting thing is, I think when we spoke in November of 2019, you hadn't even hit 100 or thereabouts.
We just hit 100, so it's so funny that here we are again today, and it's 200, and guess what happened in between?
I guess you opened 100 hotels. I was just thinking about how we're not going to have you come back to 500. But
during COVID.
Yes, which is pretty incredible feat to do.
Wait, hold on. Opening up 100 hotels during COVID is pretty impressive.
Don't you think?
I think so.
All right. I'm glad we worked that out. That's excellent. So what a heady moment for you, because it's such a milestone. 100 is huge, but 200 is really super duper. I think that's when you make the transition to everybody knowing your name, like Norma Cheers or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we might not be at Norm level yet, but I'm hoping we're getting there. But what's really, 100 was a big deal. You think about it. We launched at Alice in 2016, opened our first hotel in 2017. We hit 119, and that was a great number. We had only had 9 comparables. And then we had 50, and now we got over 100. So we've got real proof points now. But the fact that we've almost doubled in size during a global pandemic, it actually, in a really weird way, ended up being a year of proof points. We really tested this idea of True and what were guests going to think about it. And the fact that, we launched the brand because the mid-scale segment, the average age of the hotel was 26 years old. You didn't know if you're going to have a consistent experience. Certainly there wasn't any Hilton product in that price point, but the fun factor has to be a big part of the brand. Just we love that. Now, not much fun during COVID, but when guests are looking for a value, or people that had to travel that might not have wanted to, but for all different reasons for COVID, you knew you were getting a new hotel. They're all new construction. You knew you were going to get all the basics. You're getting the Hilton quality. So it ended up being a really nice way for guests to try us that maybe wouldn't have tried a True. We got a ton of new guests. We got a lot of feedback. They loved that we were streamlined. It was very COVID friendly when everyone was working to declutter the rooms. We were already there. So there's just a lot of these things that, like I said, we were kind of forged in the fire of True. And now that we're at 200, we're in a different phase. I mean, this has been a brand growth story on warp speed. And 200 is a really nice place to be right now.
Has any brand ever rolled out this fast?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I'm the brand.
Let's not draw any conclusions, but I will say, Talene, that when you launched, you came out of the gate with, I think, 100 and something like that signed deals.
We did. So it was definitely the fastest brand launch in history. And we had 100 signed deals at launch. I would say 3/4 of those deals were with existing owners.
Yep.
which was great and, a testament to the relationships that we have with them. But what is exciting to me is, especially when we come to a HOA, is you're looking at owners that maybe don't have Hilton hotels and they think maybe, I don't know if I could do a Hilton. We hear that a lot, or it might feel a bit aspirational, but True is like the perfect entry brand into Hilton. And what's nice now is it used to be 25% were new owners. Now we're up to 33% of our hotels are owned by new to Hilton owners, which is a number that's important to us. That's kind of something that we're focusing on.
Right. And a HOA is, we were just talking, 40% of luxury hotels are HOA members, and 60% of the pipeline is HOA members. So that gives you an opportunity throughout the Hilton brand to really build that relationship.
Sure, for sure. Yeah, as you go across. I mean, we like to look at True as the entry point for owners into Hilton, but also for travelers, for people that are maybe just starting their years of travel. But we are certainly multi-generational in our guest.
Well, it's interesting you should say an entry point, because my impression coming in, because you had so many signed deals at the onset with so many existing franchisees, that never occurred to me. Why is it that your brand seems to be the brand that people come into first with the Hilton family?
As travelers?
As travelers or as developers?
Owners? True is built to be very turnkey, simple. It's not an easy proposition to open a hotel, develop a hotel, period, right? I mean, there's always so many complications that come with it. But with True, it's like, I like to think of it as a hotel in a box. Like, here's the product, open the box. Not only are the, FF&E, the design, all of that's all spec'd out for you, but even like the commercial package. Like, we have like a built-in commercial support package for every hotel for the first 12 months. Like, you really can come in and let Hilton kind of carry a lot of that burden for you to kind of get your sea legs up for your first hotel. It's a perfect brand.
And that's really important, because like Anthony, like I keep pretending that I'm going to be a hotel owner one day, right?
You should.
And like I keep thinking like, there's so many things I don't know, and I could really use something that kind of streamlines it, simplifies it, and all of that. And incidentally, if anybody has any money, well, throw my way so I can actually afford to get a hotel, that'd be great.
You know what's interesting? You know the most important thing there is to know about the hotel business.
Yeah.
You know that young lady right there.
Yes, that's true.
I'm the most important.
So, Talene, we're here. We're celebrating the hospitality community and AHOA. Over 6,500 or so people have made it down here. What does this feel to you, coming out of all of the challenges that we faced over the last 18 months, to see everything coming together here?
I got to say, I think hospitality and hoteliers are exceptionally resilient people to begin with. But the optimism and knowing what we've weathered over the last however many months, to be here it's always so exciting. It's so nice to be in person. I think, Anthony, this morning you were saying, is this better than virtual? And this has been really fun. And again, people are excited. They're optimistic. We know that we have to focus on, getting through still. It's ups and downs. It's never going to be an even recovery. But I feel like the optimism and excitement and opportunity is out there.
In our business, we have almost unlimited amount of supply, meaning people that want to travel. Every single person in the world wants to travel, where they can afford to and not. But given the right circumstances, people will travel. And as long as we give them a product to travel for, they will come along. And that's what I think COVID's really taught all of us. That the people that keep us in business, the reason we all have jobs, are the people that travel. And you cannot stop people from traveling. I don't think there's one person, even though we predicted that there will be a renaissance, will be the roaring 20s. Literally, we predicted that March of 2019, that once this was
2020.
Over, we did not realize it was going to be at this level. I would say I thought it would be really impactful, but I never thought I would hear owners say, these are the best 3 months, the last 3 months of our lives, beating 2019.
It's kind of this crazy juxtaposition, right? It's like the best times and then amidst the worst times.
Yeah.
And the other thing, let's thank heavens for all the sports teams that kept traveling throughout the whole time.
That was really a group that came back. All of those, intramural high school sports and all of that kind of stuff. That's great. So who is the core audience these days at True by Hilton?
It still is really across the board. I mean, it has been a healthy mix of leisure, of business, of government, of SMERF, all of it. The thing, I don't remember if we talked about this last time, but I still, get lots of calls from owners saying there's a lot more older people here than I expected. Like they thought it was only going to be
is that a bad thing?
They thought it was going to be like just a millennial brand or something like that. Of it.
Well, honestly, the millennials are starting to be older people at this point
the
right now.
minivans are getting old out there.
Right.
So I want to ask a question, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I would imagine because of your success, and when we talk about success of a brand, it really comes down to profitability, that the owner wants to open more because it was successful financially.
Right.
True or not true? Thank you, Rachel.
Special appearance from Rachel Humphrey.
Is my phone
Chip
case in there? And hey, Chip. And is it true or not true that you're surprised by other members or owners that own other brands within Hilton saying, you know what, instead of opening this brand, which I'm used to opening, I'm going to open a True because my friends had so much success financially, and the other brand leaders are like, what happened to that owner? Why did he open the True and not my brand? Is that true or not true? Make me look smart. Will you? Make me look smart.
Everything you say is
he
true.
totally teed you up there, right?
It is fun to see with True. I mean, when you launch with 100 deals signed, there's not a lot of that. There wasn't a ton of hesitancy to say, I don't know about this. So, but what's nice is to see the owners that have been maybe standing on the sidelines saying, I want to see how this actually plays out. That's what's fun to kind of see. Now things are kind of turning over. I think like I said, we've hit these proof points. At 100 was a nice number.
Right.
200 is a nice number, is an even better number. Now corporate accounts, I mean, think about RFP season happening now. Like we really couldn't get a look like we are today.
Right. That's an interesting point because you have to have a certain amount of distribution for companies that are going to be in all specific areas.
Right. And again, my favorite is when people are driving up and down, they'll say, hey, I drove from Tennessee to Michigan. You know how many Trues I saw on the way?
Wow.
It's like, and they're recognizing them sometimes even before the logos on the building. And so that's been really exciting. I mean, it's just like, I feel like all the pieces are really kind of coming together. There's like really momentum building, and no time was wasted during COVID because it was really like a proving ground.
So
for
Glenn,
us.
ask her when she's going to be president of Hilton.
Listen, this is I think a really much more fun job. Nothing against being president of Hilton. I love Chris. But I'm hanging with True for a bit.
You sure? Should we warn Danny Hughes? You're coming after him.
I think he's good.
All right. So, Talene, one of the interesting things is you're opening them up now at such a rapid clip. It's got to be hard to keep track of. How does that work? How do all these things come together?
Yeah.
How does everybody give attention to this hotel opening today, another one opening in 4 days? It seems rather complex and confusing to somebody that's not intimately involved in this.
Yeah. So what's been nice is, what's been kind of strange is when I started, we had 50 something hotels. And then a year later, we've got, 100 and now 200. So you're kind of thinking about brand strategy. You have to be thinking about 500, 1,000 hotels because it's moving so fast. So you're really thinking about what can we fix? We did so many tweaks to the brand in that first year and kind of got to the second prototype. And right now it's just all about refinement. So it's like we're locked and loaded for this prototype to keep working really hard. We are spending all of our time out in the field just listening. What is the guest experience? What is the team member experience? What's the owner experience? How do we continue to refine it to make it more of like a hotel in a box?
Right.
That's really turnkey. And then we're watching like commercially, how is it maturing? Because we're still in the growth phase. Like we got to see where is the performance going to settle in too to the right.
Right. So let me ask you this. This is one of the things that I find really interesting because whenever a product comes out in the hospitality industry, it's not going to be perfect because until they're built and until people are staying in them, you don't understand all the little nuances of it. And you were just hinting at that. What are some of the things that you learned that were maybe unexpected or interesting that you were then able to reinvent in order to take it to the next level?
You stole my question.
Sorry.
You want to ask it? Just
hold on. Let me do the sad trombone noise on that one.
Oh, you're so much more fancier than
we totally upgraded.
Wow. Okay, I'll give you a great example. Breakfast. We launched with this incredible Top It breakfast, 30 plus toppings and all kinds of fun. During COVID, everybody stripped breakfast down. It was a really good opportunity for us across all of the Hilton brands to kind of say, all right, breakfast. And that, by the way, breakfast was probably one of our biggest drivers of expense, at the front end of it. So now we've got a new breakfast that's like reduced from, 66 items to 20. It's still super fun for the guests to enjoy and customize their breakfast. The owners love it because it's way more user-friendly, labor, less labor, much more easy on the expenses. So
super critical these days.
Super
more
critical.
than ever.
Yeah, but even before COVID, the number one complaint about
was.
brand creep was breakfast.
Yeah, so I feel like we landed in a really good spot. And the way we did it was we had GMs test it, we had owners look at their expenses, and we did a ton of guest surveys. So it's like we did something like that. It was a really good time to do it, and we had to do it really quickly. But that's an example of how we just made it better for everyone involved, which I love that example.
So what is it that customers really need as opposed to the whole idea of what they want? Now that you've simplified it, will you be able to stay with it?
Yeah, and it's like we always say, like, if you ask someone if they want ice cream, they're going to say yes, versus you ask, like, what do you actually want? So we've just got really the basics, but it's no secret, ingredients, but we do have this very cool touchless pancake maker that's been amazing.
Ooh.
That we've just launched. And
look out, waffles!
Look out, waffles! Who? But
I got to say, I just had a really good waffle at another one of your family of brands up in Poughkeepsie last week, and the kids really enjoyed them too.
They do love those waffles, so we got to do something a little different. We have pancakes, and someday, Glenn.
Mm-hmm. I know.
You stay at a True and you have some pancakes.
I feel like every time I go to Las Vegas and I pass that property, it's like it's just there mocking me. It's like, Glenn, stay with me already. Stay with me.
One day. It's not like I had to, build 100 more, or I didn't build them. But
so how many you
think you're not out there with the hammer yourself?
So this time next year, how many are you going to have?
Well, I'll say right now we still have over 250 in the pipeline. So
Oh my
we'll
God.
see. Yeah. So it's good. We're gonna be a big brand.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, big brand lady. When you have 250 Trues, what's like how is that possible that in a year you can have 250? So what is if I was a owner of 20 hotels and I said, okay, let me look at the True. From the second I say to you, I want a True, to the second I open the doors, how long is that? What's the fastest you've seen from deal to opening of the hotel?
I don't know from deal to opening, but I know from even a construction, scenario, it's been like 9 to 12 months. It's super fast.
What?
It's insane. I mean, this is pre-COVID, right?
Right,
I mean,
of course.
but we've had, and then the ramp up time has been like 4 months. It's been everything has been fast. And like I said, when it's that fast, you have to fix things real fast, and you stay on it really fast. And so, that's been our owner community has been remarkably transparent and collaborative in telling us, look, these are areas you need to look at. Breakfast, like we said, was a big one. So, we're able to be pretty nimble still, even at 200. So that's been really great.
So not to pick your favorite owner or favorite hotel that you opened, but what's one that gave you tremendous challenges and that you're most proud of, that you thought maybe it wouldn't happen all of a sudden because of whether it be general manager, the ownership, construction, whatever, that was really a big challenge that really came together nicely?
And please use all names and locations to throw them under the bus.
I will not. I would just say let me just raise it up a little bit. I would have to say when everything went down in March, the fact that we had this many due to open, I won't say to one, I would say just from a brand level, it was really incredible to just kind of look at the pipeline and think what's going to happen, to all these hotels that are due to open in the year for the year during COVID. It was pretty daunting, but the fact that, like, think about this way, when we just really pushed return to hot breakfast, because that has to happen in July, the fact that half of our brand never served a hot breakfast. And
that's pretty crazy because
that's
remarkable. Everything changed because of COVID, and then they suddenly were there.
But part of that got me really super excited, because the fact that we were doing so well without even these GMs and teams hadn't even experienced a True at its full potential. They were kind of doing like True during you know. So it's like now that business is here and the breakfast is back, they're supercharged to kind of get the full True experience. Not that it's easy every day, but it's been remarkable to meet with the guests. We were just at a hotel and just toured them out here at Rockwall, and it was like just seeing the team and the excitement. Actually, it was a really cool story. Is this woman was in housekeeping, and she was like saying she got furloughed from her desk job that she's had for 20 years.
Right.
And she said she owned a housekeeping company, and she's like, you know what, I'm just going to clean rooms instead. It was like such a rare story.
Yeah.
And so she joined the housekeeping team there, and she's like lost 27 pounds. She's like,
nice.
I'm like, working. I'm like, I've never heard this like reverse story into housekeeping. I'm like, look at it, how great it is to enter hospitality, right?
If you really want to meet a human being that loves cleaning rooms for a living. They're different.
Yeah.
Like you can't even like ask them to go to lunch. They're like, no, I got rooms to
busy,
clean.
yeah.
It's like they're a different level of human.
Yeah.
They're a different level of human.
So that's really fascinating to me. So I'm thinking maybe the way we can solve the labor crisis in the hospitality industry is disguise it as a diet and weight loss program, right?
As a way to get your steps in.
I like that. And unlike gyms, you won't get charged. We'll pay
you get to meet all kinds of really nice people.
So how many hotels went sideways because of the pandemic? What percentage?
Zero?
We did not go sideways. So.
Amazing.
Not one.
Nope. Now, I wouldn't think that was a case. I'm more interested, honestly, in like, this development pipeline thing, right? My opinion, and I could be wrong because I'm not inside, but a lot of those deals were done. They were already building it. The funding was there, so those are going to be open. But with having 250 more hotels in the pipeline, have you seen any hiccups in the signings and stuff like that as we go forward? Because my hunch is that people still remain confident. Because even at the worst moment, they're like, well, if I sign a deal today, things will be fine by the day I open.
Yeah, I think the trends have been what everyone has seen, where it's just things have kind of slowed down. I think things come down to how hard financing is to get. So I think just in the general scheme of life, it's kind of just followed the trends that we've been seeing across the board. But the pipeline is still super healthy. So we're feeling really good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. And how are you feeling, Anthony?
I'm feeling good. You would think after all these shows, you would know not to bounce the table when you talk.
But sometimes the enthusiasm is so overwhelming. And for the record, earlier today, Anthony was doing that, and I didn't call him out.
I know. Actually, I was hoping you would. You know what's interesting about our relationship? All these years that we've been working together, I could say all these years, it's like you never make fun of me, and I make fun of you constantly.
Maybe, well, that's because I'm a better person than you, Anthony.
Talene, is that making fun of me? That I'm saying he's a better person than me?
No, I think he was being sincere.
That's amazing. Talene, before we wrap this up today, anything else that you want to say about the brand? Then I'd love to ask you a couple of questions that are more like career oriented and how you're handling the explosive growth and being in the global head position.
Well, I would just say the two things that we are really focused on as far as continuing our development is, like I said, we really want to continue to look for owners that are new to Hilton to say this is such a perfect brand to come into Hilton. And I love that, opportunity to bring more, like I said, new owners into Hilton. But beyond that, the other exciting thing is that we're now moving into the Caribbean and Latin America. So I'm really excited about that. And we're going to have a hotel opening in Brazil by the end of the year, and then our first in Mexico. And then we've got Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. So we're really excited about what True is going to bring to this new region. I think there's a tremendous opportunity there. And so that's kind of our big news.
That's amazing. And you know what? You said this is a great entry point to home ownership, to hotel ownership. But it's also a great entry point for general managers, right? I mean, this gives you. So talk about that. Like, I know you have to go, but like really, we're trying to get kids involved in this industry. And you can be a pretty young general manager in some of these brands.
Yeah, and I love that our GM population is a healthy mix of very new leaders, but also some really seasoned ones.
Right.
And it's been great to see people giving an opportunity to cut their teeth on a True.
Yeah, sorry about the director mistake there that I just made.
I was going like this.
Yeah, I know. My wife is texting me right now, and she won't stop. And I'm trying to tell her I'm on air right now, and not to do that.
And Talene's talking. I'm like, dude.
I know. Sorry. All my fault.
No, but that is so important, because when you have a program like this, you have a brand like this, and you have a leader like you that's very involved, and people love you and people say great things about you, and you're there and you listen. It is so important to really bring a young general manager or a first-time general manager into a brand that they really get guidance and they really, it's okay to make a mistake from time to time, but to really understand and appreciate and love this business, because this business, if you don't love it, it'll kill you.
What's fun too is that we're seeing True's dual brands are a big part of our pipeline too,
Right.
and a lot of the dual brands with Hilton are included True, and it's been fun to see a True GM kind of their next step up might be for a dual brand opportunity. So that's kind of been a nice pipeline too.
I really like that. And it's a trend that's really taken off in a lot of years as owners, we've said this before on the show, have found that they can, have a nice property that reaches 2 different types of groups and really keep those rooms filled and their staff paid. Talene, this last 18 months has really screwed us all up emotionally, physically, professionally. What have you learned about yourself as a human being and as a professional over this period of time? And how do you think it's made you a better person?
I think the biggest thing is you just learn not to sweat.
Right.
Not to sweat the small stuff, and that we're really, resilient. And I feel like it helped to lower the bar in all parts of my life really low. Like, we had
She should have been like me. I always think the bar real low.
No, but it's true because we all went to zero. No matter you were a brand leader or a general manager, housekeeper, whoever you were, we all went to zero.
We all went to zero. We have my kids are both entering high school, and so having them, at home together, that was a blessing. Like which teenagers would ever spend as much time with their parents as we got to do? So I was appreciative of that. I was appreciative of, the teams that got together. I think like what we saw at the hotels too is like with all the job changes and stuff, the teams really became strong, and I felt like that camaraderie and leaning into each other and being vulnerable and kind of, just asking for help and pitching in, it all made all of us really strong.
And if you did it well, like my wife could retire from being a pre-K teacher years ago, but she loves it. And she was really afraid to do it online. She was like, how do I do this? Yeah. And by the end of the year, I asked her, I said, do you feel that your kids lost anything because you did this online? She goes, absolutely not. Aww. She goes, the kids, I felt like we bonded even more.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you really committed to it and you really, really cared about your team, and you use the word that very few people use anymore, vulnerable. If you show your vulnerability and you really show how you're feeling, people relate, especially when you're on camera this close. People have nothing else, like you have to pay attention. So I found that, we really connected. Like Glenn and I, we haven't seen each other for like maybe 5 times all year.
I know, something like that. It depends how many casinos we went to do live broadcasts from. I'll have to count how much money I lost.
Yeah, and I was going to say, obviously, Anthony doesn't watch TV. Like, I just kicked myself under the table for saying the word vulnerable, because if you watch trashy TV like I do, like The Bachelorette and all that kind of dating, they say vulnerable all the time. So I'm like, I just want to I can't believe I said it.
My. All right, Talene. It's our time has come. How about a great plug for True by Hilton for the investment community?
You're asking me?
Yeah, plug away.
Oh my
gosh. Your chance to say anything you want. Unvarnished, like unfiltered, like sell.
Look, I was just going to say, we've been so tremendously lucky to have built this brand with our owners, to launch it with such strength, and to hit this 200 mark is just the beginning. Like, we are strong and ready to go. We want new people to come and join us with Hilton. We want existing owners to continue to diversify their portfolios. I want more women owners to come in with True, and this is the perfect brand. And our guests love it. What I love about it is the team members keep telling us how much fun they're having.
And more diversity.
More diversity.
We need to see more diversity. We need to see more females. We need to see more minorities. I love when I see, we had a young lady on recently, right? I don't know what brand she owned, but she was a young African-American woman. She owned a hotel, and it just made my heart feel good, because you don't see very many women African-American hotel owners.
I actually think it was a Hampton, if I'm not mistaken.
Hampton. I think you're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah. Should have been a True. We told her that before she came on air.
It's my goal. I'm gonna have like the all-female OAC or something. I don't know what's gonna happen, but
I love it.
Lady power.
Lady power. Hey, I have a funny story I was going to tell you.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll save that for off there. I love doing that to the audience, because radio shows have always done that to me for years. So I love being super secretive. Yeah. All right, everybody. Talene, you are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
It was good to see you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, we will see you later. Anthony, any final thoughts before I end this?
It's a pleasure to see you. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Remember, you got one life, so blaze on, baby.
Be kind to yourself.